Dan and Amy, I couldn't tell. Was that prepubescent kid, or was that Chuck Schumer at the top explaining why he lit a bunch of garbage on fire? You had a lot of people running around with their hair metaphorically on fire over the weekend in response to Trump being inaugurated as the 45th president of the United States. How about Bart Hubbock?
Who's Bart Hubbock?
He's an NFL writer for the New York Post. He tweeted 12/7/41, 9/11/01. 1/2017, comparing Trump's inauguration, obviously, to Pearl Harbor and 9/11.
Yeah.
That's measured. That's proportional. That's the D.C. press corps that is crying about being attacked by the Trump administration. And then there's this. I have to play this because this is my favorite clip of the weekend.
Mine was the Southwest Airlines, but yours.
Oh, that's not even close.
Okay,
not even
don't
close.
Be so dismissive.
Not even close. This is my ringtone. This is how great this is.
Oh, okay. Dan Proft has spoken.
This is the primal scream, death shriek of the left upon the inauguration of Donald Trump. One woman caught by, I think it was NBC.
Coverage of the presidential inauguration from NPR News, and you can hear the 21-gun salute in the background. Another signal that for all of that resistance, for all of that opposition, Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the Trump for the moment steps away.
Did you hear that at the end, like the last 8 seconds? I was like, nah! That's a good one. But I got to say, it reminded me of the Nazi melting scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You see if you can tell the difference. And then the face melts and the eyes.
I still remember that scene.
Yeah.
People get a grip.
I just wish her face would have melted too.
Oh.
That would have been great. I mean, it's just for the pageantry of it all. All right. For more. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Your take. I mean, as our fashion correspondent, your take on Ivanka and Melania's fashion sense, because Bill Clinton seemed to like it.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, Ivanka Trump wore a white pantsuit from Oscar de la Renta, which was just stunning.
There's an Oscar de la Rentas.
Oh, sure, that guy.
I mean,
but
I hate to pull rank on fashion.
oh yeah, okay, thanks. And Melania's Ralph Lauren blue outfit with the gloves and shoes were spectacular. I mean, really, I was joking around on Friday because the hue is a little off on our screen here. But once I saw it at home, she looked classy and modern, and she is going to be the most photographed woman in the world. But yes, Bill Clinton did. They're such fetching outfits that Bill Clinton couldn't stop staring at him until Hillary was staring at Bill. Focus.
I believe the word is leering. For more on the inauguration weekend and what's to come, including today's executive orders, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Matt Mackowiak. He is Republican strategist and president of Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So Trump moved on Obamacare in kind of general terms, kind of a baby step with an executive order on Friday, but he's expected to do much more today. Can you give us a little preview of what we can anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see them move on a number of the priorities that they talked about during the campaign. I think the first thing you're going to see is they're going to remove the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I mean, I think that'll get a lot of attention. They're going to do something called reinstituting the Mexico City policy, which is sort of insider language, but matters a lot to the pro-life community. It basically says the United States will not fund abortions overseas. They are going to take action on Obamacare. It looks like they're going to take action to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, which is very controversial among sort of pro-Palestinian Americans and those who live abroad, but is very popular among the Israeli government, as Jerusalem really is the capital of Israel. So, you're going to see 6 or 7 actions today. I think he says signing them at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, and it's going to certainly make a lot of news.
Well, can you explain one of his first executive actions was to cancel Obama's mortgage premium cuts? Can you explain?
For FHA.
For FHA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the world's greatest expert on Obamacare. I know that one of the first executive orders he signed, I think it was actually on Friday, freed up all of the agencies to sort of lessen the damage of Obamacare. So it allowed them to sort of move in whatever direction they wanted to move. My guess is that HUD moved in the direction that you just talked about as it related to mortgages. But the key is that Trump is going to be basically getting rid of the individual mandate. And the individual mandate is really the key to Obamacare, because if you don't require people to buy insurance by either giving a penalty or requiring it just generally, the whole system doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work anyway, but it really doesn't work without the individual mandate, because it doesn't bring in all the new customers, the money from which allows the insurance companies to make those popular provisions, getting rid of allowing kids to stay on their parents' plan till they're 26, getting rid of lifetime caps, getting rid of pre-existing conditions. Those popular provisions are expensive. Without the individual mandate, you don't have the new customers that come into the system. So that's really the key. But the first executive order that President Trump signed on Friday, literally within hours of being sworn in, was a very general executive order that basically allowed all the agencies to basically change Obamacare in whatever way they thought they needed to sort of lessen the pain that Obamacare has been causing to the economy.
Yeah, begin defanging Obamacare. Now, just in addition to what you said about the HUD executive order regarding FHA, this is also in response to a rate cut, a 0.25% rate cut that Obama promulgated by executive order that was set to take effect end of this month. And there's concern on the Hill about the liquidity of the FHA program, what kind of backstop they have after having to be bailed out just 8 years ago. This is akin to, or part of, I should say, worrying about the federal government re-blowing up the housing bubble that burst 8 years ago. So that's a piece of it as well. It's not the attacking the poor demagoguery you're hearing from the left. I want to get your take on this other spat that may be looming. The Hill reports on this morning about Trump and congressional Republican leadership potentially at odds with spending cuts, cutting the expense of the federal government by 10%, cutting the federal workforce by 20%, as Trump has telegraphed.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Republicans, have been proposing pretty serious spending cuts for a long time, and we have pretty solid ideas about what we want to do. Donald Trump has come at this from a different place. Now, he has complained pretty loudly about the size of the national deficit and the size of the national debt, and he's right about that. But this is really where the fighting, comes in. I mean, no two people agree on where you should have massive spending cuts to the federal government, and that's true among Hill leaders, true among President Trump as well. So this is really where the cabinet is going to come in. I don't believe Donald Trump, as President of the United States, really has studied the budget all that closely. I think he knows the top-line numbers like maybe most people do, but I don't think he understands where the money is really. And that's where, committee chairmen on Capitol Hill and cabinet secretaries are going to have to really work together to figure out what they can cut and what they can't cut.
Speaking of cabinet secretaries, Tillerson and who else is going to, and Pompeo to be confirmed today, it appears. Do you see any cabinet secretary nomination running into trouble, any of Trump's nominees?
So Pompeo will be confirmed today. There's a vote, I think, tonight in the U.S. Senate. Tillerson will not be confirmed today. He's going to get out of committee today.
Okay.
John McCain and Lindsey Graham both announced they'll vote for him in committee. The one to watch is Marco Rubio. He is not committed to voting for Tillerson in committee. But no, to answer your question, I think they're all going to get through. Keep in mind, cabinet secretaries used to need 60 votes to be confirmed. Harry Reid changed that rule in a sort of short-sighted way. When he was Senate Majority Leader, it's now a 51-vote threshold. There are 52 Republicans in the U.S. Senate. Now, if you have 50 votes from the Vice President, you have 51. So any nominee would have to lose 3 Republicans if all the Democrats stay united. I think some of them are going to be really close. Scott Pruitt at EPA, I think, will be really close. Betsy DeVos at Education will be really close. But I think you're going to see them all get through. A couple of them will get through with exactly 51 or 52 votes, perhaps. But I think they are all going to get confirmed. I think it's going to take a while. The Democrats are really trying to delay this. Obama had 7 nominees confirmed on the day he took office. Trump had 2. So, there's a lot of these major, particularly the national security jobs. All he has now is our defense and Homeland Security. He'll have CIA tonight, but there's still some major cabinet slots that are not confirmed. That's a story to keep watching.
Hey, Matt, as a Republican strategist, I wanted to get your take on Trump's first weekend in office. A little rocky. I mean, how does arguing about crowd size really help the American people?
agree. I agree. I didn't think taking that fight was useful. There's so much that they have to do right now that really requires their attention, and I think really establishing credibility early on is so important. It's important for the president. It's important for the White House chief of staff. It's important for the White House press secretary. I've known Sean Spicer probably 10 years. I have a lot of respect for him. That was not a good performance on Saturday, and my guess is he knows that more than anyone else. So it's pretty clear that the Trump White House wants to have a fight with the press every day, and honestly, the press keeps taking the bait. The press is one of the least respected institutions in American life.
Well, that's just that's just it. Not to interrupt, but so are Trump and Spicer being petulant like foxes?
Yeah, maybe. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, perhaps. But you got to remember, this is not a campaign anymore. And Trump was very effective at picking fights with the press, day to day, and sort of rallying the silent majority of Americans behind him. That's not what this is. I mean, he has 100 days now to get through most of his agenda. That's generally what's been seen historically. After 100 days, you start getting back into the political cycle of the reelection for the midterms, and your ability to move things on the Hill slows down. So they've really got to be very efficient and focused here over the next 100 days. Now, he is meeting with congressional leaders tonight, including Speaker Ryan privately. So they really do need to get moving. The executive orders today are the first step of him upholding the promises he made when he was a candidate. So I think that's going to be a major step. But now he's got to get tax reform passed. He's got to get Obamacare fully repealed and replaced, which they've said they want to do by the end of March. He's got to get tax reform done. I mean, there's a lot of pieces here they got to follow through with. Because these are promises they made, and they have Republican majorities in the House and Senate. They need to go get it done.
And Theresa May, his first meeting with the head of state, Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Britain, later this week, the possibility of a bilateral agreement between the United States and Great Britain as they Brexit in the offing. That could be an early victory for Trump as well.
No question. I mean, that is crucial. Keep in mind, the reason that this is even possible is because of Brexit. I mean, Brexit has allowed the individual countries of the EU to do individual trade deals. And with TPP falling apart, too, it's those two things that are allowing a situation where the U.S. and the U.K. could do a bilateral trade deal. Yes, that would be huge for both economies. It would be very, very popular. But it's pretty clear that Trump needs a foreign ally that he can be very close to, and there would be no one better than the British Prime Minister, where he also has Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu coming, I believe, in February. So those, I think, will be two of our closest allies, and Trump needs to begin establishing strong relationships with world leaders right away.
He is Matt Mackowiak, Republican strategist, president of Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're